This is it, an unofficial first look at what Universal Studios' new 2027 roller coaster, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, has in store for us. This Orlando ride features drifting vehicles just like its sister park in Hollywood, but this layout has more track, a longer ride time, and has some really cool features that are completely different and are new to any coaster in the world. Today we go step by step of everything and I break down what I like about the layout, some of the stats, speeds, and capacities that we can expect from the coaster, and the full simulation POV that I've been recreating of the ride. I've messed with some shaping and parts of the layout to really match it up as best as possible to the one in the real world. This ride is manufactured by Intamin, known for Velocicoaster, Hagrid, and some of the best rides all around the world. It takes up the length of the entrance road to Universal Studios Florida and starts at the back and then stretches all the way into the edge of City Walk. It really changes the entire energy of the entrance to the park, and it can be seen throughout the theme park and City Walk really as the new icon coaster of the resort. Starting at the station, we have our first unique moment here, where you actually pull to the right and then the vehicle changes direction. Essentially, the front of the vehicle is now the back, and row 7 becomes the front. It's something that's really going to make this ride extremely re-rideable, and one where everyone's going to have a different opinion on their favorite seat as it changes through the ride. Each vehicle can also have its own spin cycle, so it really makes every car of the ride special, even the middle rows. The dynamics of this ride are unmatched in the industry, and it's really just something that's never been done before. We pull into the main launch one. This launch right around 50 to 55 miles per hour. All of these speeds that I mentioned are based on forces through the elements and kind of keeping everything within the G limits. So I do think that they should be pretty accurate. A very pronounced wave turn over the plaza stage inside the park. Riders are really going to get some strong negative forces here as they're turned. You can really see from City Walk how much the track does bend outwards here. And it's definitely worth noting that these vehicles also have an extremely high heart line, meaning that we sit super high off the track because of that large mechanism that drifts the vehicles underneath. So that heart line being where the center of the riders' bodies are sitting. So elements like this one over the stage are really just going to be more pronounced to a greater level, feel a bit snappier and almost wonkier. And the scale of the vehicles, as you're looking at it from off the ride, it's going to look very impressive. They're just very large vehicles. Carrying speed through that first element all the way to ground level. We have some awesome high-speed turns right along here. Great to have these simple S-turns right along the ground. Something that's really going to amplify the speed that we're at here as we head towards the City Walk Spaghetti Bowl section. There's also some room for theming along a lot of these low ground elements, so we can really hope that we'll see some added to heighten that sense of speed even more. A quick bank turn and more low turns with this high speed S-hill before we head into a block break. This break really here and needed for capacity reasons. We are able to launch the following train after this lead train completely passes through this block break. So it's really that safety feature that's going to allow the following train to stop here if anything is wrong ahead. So from the first go up to passing all the way through this break. But what's kind of interesting here is we could actually start to enter the first launch if we wanted to and do a very aggressive block system. They actually do this on Revenge of the Mummy, just a very little bit so it could stop if needed, but it really helps capacity a lot. And then we get that dispatch time down to 32 seconds. So in comparison, Velocicoaster has a 48-second dispatch. So this 32-second dispatch on Fast and Furious is possible, and they should be able to reach a pretty great capacity because of one being the double station, so we're loading 2 trains at a time. And then 2, there's less seats to check here on each vehicle versus something like Velocicoaster. So we really should be able to reach these intervals, and we're really gonna have 2 trains out here in the City Walk section as quite a normal occurrence. And then over at the plaza, we'll probably have a train passing over this plaza stage every 20 to 30 seconds. And it is completely possible that this stage section does have both trains head over at the same time. It would just require a 60 or so second dispatch. So actually a slow dispatch, and you could see this happen quite often. So theoretically, we're at a max capacity with the 32-second dispatches at 1,800 persons per hour, an exact match of Velocicoaster's 1,800. The ride's really gonna give off an awesome vibe to City Walk and the Plaza stage. So once we pass through the mid-course block here, we head through the transfer track into the launch that will lead us up the spike. This is kind of the marketable feature that they've been giving us out of this ride. No more than 60 miles per hour towards this spike is going to bring us up towards the top. The front vehicle now re-becoming the rear vehicle, and because of that, it could be preferred to be on this side of the train as you head way higher up the spike track at this moment. So in the original station, boarding the rear vehicle could be the preferred spot to be, row 7. So back through that same launch, now hitting around 70 miles per hour and probably advertised to guests at a 72 mile per hour launch. And at this speed, we go into the most unique element of the coaster, this super disorienting, twisted cutback that kind of turns us 180 degrees back in the other direction while also inverting and then kind of non-inverting us just as we get to the top. There's been similar elements done, but this one, the way it's shaped, is very unique, and it really should give us just a very, very cool sensation. About 140 plus feet tall, and it's going to have some cool forces through it. We're going to be probably 0G through a lot of this, so it's a very interesting airtime and this twisting and this rotating, so some super unique forces throughout. And then after this wild element, you have a speed hump. I don't think they really accomplish anything this element. They're just overused elements nowadays. I'm a huge fan of linear elements that do less to amplify the elements around them. So really just flat track here or an off-axis straight piece of track would have done a lot. Your brain kind of gets in a flow through the ride, so adding straight track really breaks up that flow. It really makes the rider focus on the previous and the following element. Kind of like a reset and like a whoa. Even a straight tunnel at this speed would have been cool. Micro bunny hills are kind of something that I feel like RMC was doing in 2015, and it's time to move forward from these little elements and maybe go back to basics. A sharp angled cutback is next, and then back down and up into a stall. A really strong finish to the ride. Everything after the double launch and the entire second half, especially with the drifting vehicles and the speed that we're going to be at, we really have some crazy moments happening. Intamin and Universal really just throwing a little of everything at us. And the finale, another launch into this large air hill, just a straight air hill, a really fun element that's going to be a great finish. The ride's flow is really nice from starting off easier and then becoming a little more extreme as you go forward. This launch also must be acting as a block if they go with that aggressive block system that I was mentioning earlier. It's really just seconds apart, every single train, from allowing the train behind to continue forward. It's a really cool block system that they have going here. It's not my favorite to just kind of add more energy into the middle of the ride, just because I kind of enjoy the physics behind coasters and them kind of using up every bit of energy before adding more energy. But if it's helping with capacity and also giving us this really huge airtime hill, it's nothing really to complain about at all. And over the stage, also not really a complaint, but I'm surprised they didn't do these cross beams in a gray color, just to have the arch be even more impressive. So a pretty long ride here, especially with the swing launch in place and the double use of that track. Longer than Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift in Hollywood. I really wish they changed the subtitle of this coaster for the Orlando version. They're really completely different coasters. It's like how Six Flags names everything Goliath. It's very weird to just not give this a separate tagline. There's a bunch of comments saying that they're copies, it's already been built, they've already ridden it at the other place, but these are not even close to alike. So, Fast and Furious in Orlando, this really could be one of the best rides ever. The layout is grand, it looks visually pleasing, it uses nice low ground features mixed with huge height changes and big elements that really give the rider a lot to enjoy throughout. I mean, Intamin is still proving that they're the best at layouts and the best at showcasing their rides through their elements and their design philosophies. The supports are a work of art as well. Overall, just leading the coaster industry, it's Intamin, and it's always something to look forward to. They always feel a little different than you expect from looking at them to when you ride them. And that's just not something that happens with a lot of other manufacturers. So this is one you won't want to miss. Coming in 2027, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift at Universal Studios Orlando.